Welcome to Voices for Impact, the podcast. Started during the COVID-19 pandemic and made in Syracuse, Voices for Impact is full of conversations with thought leaders from around the world that have made significant accomplishments in their lives and have gone through their own challenges, but have made it through those adversities and made positive impacts through their work. I'm your host, Danielle Mensing, and as a fundraiser for a nonprofit, I believe the most valuable tool you can give yourself is making a positive impact on others and your community. Every conversation is going to give you tools and tactics from entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and change makers that will encourage you to develop a growth mindset and reimagine how you can find your purpose. Now let's get started. This episode is sponsored by Always Chasing Better Coaching, which is for women who know that living their best life would have a tremendous impact on their work, relationships, and day-to-day life, and they are ready to go get it. As an Always Chasing Better Coaching client, you won't just dream about your best life, you'll create it. Reach out to Michelle Horton at Always Chasing Better Coaching today. Voices for Impact friends and listeners receive 50% off the Becoming the Best Version of Yourself online workshop. Go to Voices for Impact Instagram and Facebook for more information. Welcome to another episode of Voices for Impact. My name is Danielle Mensing, founder of Voices for Impact, and today I am chatting with Alexis Tearney Kuhl. She is the second generation owner and head 5th degree black belt instructor of Tearney's martial arts. She is the daughter of Greg and Judy Tearney, 10th degree black belts, and after 51 years, Greg and Judy decided to cease physical operations of their school, partly due to COVID and also due to a surprising cancer diagnosis for Greg. Alexis reincorporated the business and pivoted to a virtual format. She teaches live online classes to children and adults in both karate and kickboxing. And Alexis, along with her husband, Jordan, also owns and operates an e-commerce store named Lhük Vintage, and they sell vintage clothing and merchandise. She also provides free workouts, motivation, wellness advice, and positive content through her Facebook and Instagram pages. Her content has also caught the attention of local press, but also nationally on the NBC show All Access. So thank you so much for having a conversation with me today, Alexis.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
So there's so many entrepreneurial endeavors that have occurred for you in the last year. What was it like pivoting your family's business to a virtual format and starting a vintage clothing store all during a pandemic?
Yeah, this is such a pivotal year for us. In the beginning of the year, if nobody could have seen this coming the way it happened, I'm sure I say that, and I can probably speak for many people in that regard. You know, when we were mandated to shut down the facility, the dojo, we did, and we just thought it was going to be a couple weeks, or that was a couple more weeks, and we thought maybe it'd be a month or maybe two, and so we just kind of kept saying like, okay, well, we'll just go back to normal. Okay, we'll just go back to normal. Found out that my dad had cancer in March. It was shocking and kind of terrifying too, because, we really didn't want him to be exposed to many people. So he was starting to kind of back away from the business. And then we were required to shut down, which, considering what was going on with my dad, we all kind of needed a little bit of time to process everything and kind of get our heads straight. And I believe it was around May, and my husband and I were kind of looking at each other and was like, we have this opportunity right here where we have a lot of time and we could really build something and create something. We had talked about having a business together, and that's kind of where like Lhük Vintage grew. It was like, well, let's start something out of the house. We'll incorporate and we'll start a website and we'll sell, we've been selling vintage t-shirts on eBay for some time. So it really wasn't like a completely brand new thing for us. And so that kind of happened. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, once gyms and facilities can open, we will go back to the dojo and everything will be like it usually is. And I believe it was in the end of June, and my parents said, if we reopen, it's going to be really tough. Your dad can't be around a lot of people, and we just kind of want to retire and focus on enjoying our time and healing. And I said, okay, well, yeah, I totally support that. And then it kind of dawned on me, like, oh, okay, I guess we're not going back to normal.
Yeah.
And I kind of came to it. I said, all right, I know a lot of schools are teaching virtually. I could reach out to some people and get some ideas on how they're doing it. And so I did. And so thank God for networking, because that's what I did. And the whole framework kind of was born right there. And I reached out to our students and I said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know if this is temporary or permanent or what, but at least we can start here and we can resume classes on a virtual format. Because I was just thinking about, how can I create something for our current students?
Yeah.
Was that location no longer matters. We can reach people on a national, even an international basis if we really wanted to. And so that is now where we are going and growing. So the beauty in it is it's just because we can do it nationally, internationally, we're able to broaden our horizons and reach greater numbers of people that we just didn't have the opportunity to do that before. And so now we can bring in the Syracuse community and serve them just like we have for so many years. But now it's like, it's endless as far as like the opportunity and the potential of this. And so I'm very excited about where this may go.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Sometimes blessings and timing all kind of works out. And I think that this pandemic has offered a lot of people a chance to pause and reflect on their lives and kind of pivot what they want their life to look like. And it seems like you've taken advantage of a time that's been hard for a lot of people and was hard for you
Yeah.
as business owners and turn it into a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, to be successful, you have to be put through tribulations, that those trying periods. And there were days where I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I can do this. But I just kept going and put a smile on my face and stayed positive. And, it's like you talk about the content on my social media. Sometimes in some ways that was almost therapy for me, to read these stories and to kind of bring them to life and to kind of put it out there. It was like that was the best way for me to start my week, because it was just always on the right foot and kind of set the tone for things. And so I'm going to continue to do that. And I hope, I've gotten great feedback from people that it's helpful for them. They appreciate it. They enjoy it. So, I'm going to keep doing it. And it's kind of taken on a life of its own. And I never really, I don't know, I didn't really plan it. It was just like, I guess I'll do this. And here we are. So this has just been amazing.
Yeah, definitely follow Alexis on Instagram and Facebook. She has a really awesome a Monday motivational posts, and I think one's on Wednesday as well. But they
Yeah.
are. It's definitely a nice break in the news feed to see your videos and give some motivation and inspiration and positivity to the day. What is some advice that you could give those viewing on how to get into a positive mindset and how you've kept that positive mindset?
So getting into a positive mindset, from a lot of people that I've kind of learned from, is the beginning of the day and the end of the day are sort of the bookends that hold everything together. So just making sure that, I'm starting each day with, waking up at the same time, knowing that I'm going to go down and get my exercise in for the day, having it mapped out what I'm going to eat so that I'm feeling well physically so that I can be there mentally. And, I think personal development books are super important, trying to end the day, taking some positivity in that way. So that way you're carrying it over into the next day as well. And just, talking to people that are kind of like-minded, negativity begets negativity. So if you're around people, even if it's family, that has that sort of negative voice, trying to limit, as much as possible, as kindly as possible. Because, it's tough times. We have to be our best. We have to be on our game, and we have to kind of really cultivate that. So as much as possible, that has become the emphasis of my life. And like I said, it's daily. It's not perfect, but it's daily work.
Yeah, that's some great tips to keep a positive mindset. And they're simple things, but it's good to be reminded about those little things that you need to do on a daily basis just to keep that good mindset for your overall health.
For sure.
So, what advice do you have for others looking to open their own small business?
Um, don't try to overplan it. or think that it's going to be perfect right out the gate. I think so many people get into what's called, I think, analysis paralysis,
Mm.
where they're over analyzing how the how's it going to work, and try to piece it together before it's even become something. Like, just get in there and do it, and you're going to learn as you go, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's the only way you're going to learn. Like, nobody, not one person, not even the most successful business person in the world, has gone out the gate and done the whole thing perfectly from start to finish. Like, they'll tell you that there are going to be failures and there's going to be setbacks. So accept them and embrace them, and don't dwell on them. Figure it out, pivot, and then move on and learn from it. I think that is like the most important thing that anybody can take away.
That's really, really good advice. I think
Yeah.
you're spot on with the analysis paralysis and
Yeah.
getting bogged down on that, and just go with the flow at a certain point. You plan the best you can, but let it unfold how it is supposed to, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, my next question is, what is a skill or characteristic about you that you think has allowed you to reach your goals and dreams in life?
Um, I think it's sort of a blessing and a curse is that I'm never satisfied, with what is happening or what the results are, where some people are like, hey, like, be happy. I'm always thinking, like, okay, this could have gone differently. I could have done this differently. How could I do this better? Like, I'm constantly overcritical of myself in some ways, which, like I said, is like, I'll stay up at night if I, dwell on it for too long, but that's what keeps me going. It's never like, oh yeah, that was good. Like, I'm never going to rest on my laurels, so to speak. So it's like, I'm just going to keep plugging away and keep trying to push. And I think some people misconceive that in some ways, because they see somebody that's hard on themselves and like, oh, she must be super competitive, or she thinks she's better. And it's like, that's exactly the opposite. It's more like it's like a battle within is what
Mhm.
it is, and trying to be the best version of oneself. So for me, that's kind of like, that's the way I've always been, and I don't see it changing. So it's something that's been I have to learn to manage it in many ways. But it's served me well. So I guess we'll keep going with it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I can resonate with exactly what you're saying. You're never
Yeah.
satisfied in that present moment. How could you do better? I think there's some, negatives to that, but mostly positives, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you succeed with what you want, and work hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
My next question is, what drives you?
What drives me? I want to say, first and foremost, my family. I want to make them proud. At the end of the day, I want to make my husband proud. I want to be that role model for my kids. So when, my daughter looks up to me, she'll say, my mom, I watched my mom do this, and I saw my mom work out every morning. And, so that she looks at me and she says, this is normal. This is something that is healthy and good. And, hopefully it rubs off on her as well. And I want to make my parents proud, and they are proud. But I feel like we've kind of just begun, and where we're going with this is, I have really, really exciting feelings about where this is going, and it's going to be awesome. So that is what is driving me. Is just, I want everybody around me to say, like, yeah, you did it.
I love that. Now, where can people go if they want to buy some vintage clothing?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is luckvintage.com. Luck is, people say, what? Okay, why? What's the spelling? Our last name is Kuhl, Kuhl. We reversed it. Lhuk is
Love
luck
it.
vintage. Yes. So that's where we came up with the name for it. And it's been fun. It's been a big learning experience. A lot of things I didn't realize, like the fashion industry is the number 2 polluter in the world, believe it or not. I think because in some ways we've become a throwaway society. We have many people have their closets just filled with things that they've worn a couple of times, and maybe they get rid of. And it's amazing, the pieces that we find. It's like, I can't believe somebody didn't see something in this, or still has tags and is in perfect condition. And we give new life and give it new homes. And I thought when we started it, because in the martial arts, naturally, I get to know people personally, and I get to know their stories, and they share that with me. But I didn't think that this was going to happen with this business, but it is. people will reach out and say, hey, I bought this item because it meant something to me, or they'll talk about a memory, or they'll say, I bought this item because I wanted to celebrate this milestone. And it's like, there is that personal connection there. It's been incredible.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely visit her website to buy some vintage clothing. It's a great site, and I wish you so much luck. My last
Thank you.
question for you is, how do you define success?
Defining success to me is hopefully at the end of the day, I can look back and I say, hey, this was good. Today was a good day, and we hit our goals today. I don't think I'll ever be satisfied, so to say, 100%. I'm sure that's probably a typical sentiment among a lot of people, but when I can rest my head on the pillow and can be content with that day's work, and not just I want to be happy with the lives that I've touched. So if I've, had a positive influence, and someone can say, like, and we've gotten those stories back in the martial arts so many times. And sometimes I keep like thank you notes that I get from people, because it's like when you have a difficult day and you open that up and you say, no, like, this is why we do what we do. That to me is success. So yeah, that's why I do what I do.
I love it. Thank you so much, Alexis, for giving us some
Thank
insight
you.
into your story and what you do. Thank you so much to our viewers for watching. Voices for Impact is on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as podcast platforms. So please follow, like, and subscribe to stay connected. And I will see you next time on Voices for Impact. Bye, everyone. This episode is sponsored by Always Chasing Better Coaching, which is for women who know that living their best life would have a tremendous impact on their work, relationships, and day-to-day life, and they are ready to go get it. As an Always Chasing Better Coaching client, you won't just dream about your best life, you'll create it. Reach out to Michelle Horton at Always Chasing Better Coaching today. Voices for Impact friends and listeners receive 50% off the Becoming the Best Version of Yourself online workshop. Go to Voices for Impact Instagram and Facebook for more information.